Life is peaceful in Stardew Valley. Too peaceful. Sometimes even the Stardrop Saloon won't be able to provide you the excitement you need. There's got to be a way to liven things up. Something fun. Someone in this godforsaken backwater town has to be holding, right? Well, here's a comprehensive breakdown of everyone in the valley and how likely they are to give you a hand. Here's every Stardew Valley resident ranked by how comfortable I would be asking them for drugs. Number 45, Jazz. Come on guys, I'm not a monster. I wouldn't ask a child for drugs. Plus, I don't know how to play the ukulele, so I'm not sure how I'd manage the apology video. 44, Vincent. This is mostly a tie with the previous entry. The one thing that bumps it up a spot is that Vincent probably wouldn't even understand what I meant, so he wouldn't be traumatized by the interaction. Sure, his dad definitely gets high, but I'm sure he keeps it all in his room. I don't like to think of what Jazz has seen Shane get up to firsthand. Number 43, Demetrius. You'd get a lecture about both the dangers of narcotics as well as the wonders of experiencing the natural world with a pure, unaltered perception. Demetrius would try to persuade you that the way of contemplation was the only life worth living and that abusing substances would risk degrading your rational mind. Not only would you need to get more high than ever after you talked to him, he would also check in on you every week or so to see how you were doing. Number 42, Marnie. Do not ask Marnie for drugs. She's already noticed that someone has been stealing from her inventory, particularly her stock of ketamine. Obviously it's Shane, but she's not ready to admit that. If you give her an excuse to blame you, she is going to contact the authority. It will be your word against hers and they'll believe her. Nice work, you're going away for at least a year. Number 41, Morris. Besides just looking like a total narc, Jojo Mart absolutely drug tests their employees constantly. You might not work there, but your photo is going on the wall in the security office if you so much as mention weed around Morris. When your farm fails and you're forced to return to that comically large work computer, they'll automatically reject your application. Number 40, Bouncer. There are two types of bouncers. One is already your dealer. This guy is the other type. Number 39, Governor. Obviously it's not a great idea to ask the state's head boot for drugs. Even on the off chance that he travels with his immensely disappointing children, those guys aren't the give other people drugs kind of guys. If you broadcast the fact that you are not holding, they will immediately forget that you exist. There's just no good angle to work. Number 38, Penny. Penny obviously has some baggage related to substance abuse because of her mum. Asking if she was holding would just feel kind of mean. Also, she would probably tell you that like books are the healthy way to expand your mind or something like that. I really don't want to make her say that. Number 37, Robin. Robin has been on a construction site, so she's not going to be shocked by the very thought of someone wanting to get high. Still, she's not going to have anything to give you. She won't lecture you like Demetrius would, but she'll hint to her kids that you're a shady character. Number 36, Henchman. The henchman wants two things out of life: to do his job and to eat rotten mayonnaise. You may as well be talking to a rock. Number 35, Marlon. I'm not saying that Marlon wouldn't have access to drugs or that he wouldn't be willing to distribute them. Both of these things are certainly true. However, the dude sells your own items back to you. Sure, he pitches it as a helpful service, but it sounds like a scam to me. I wouldn't trust a dealer who was like, hey man, I found your AirPods the other day. You can have them back for the MSRP. Number 34, Dwarf. It's implied that the dwarf has a pretty different biological makeup than humans, and he doesn't seem to have a clear understanding of what those differences are. If the dwarf offered me something, I would politely accept and then flush it the first chance I got. Number 33, Pam. Pam will ask you to buy her a beer before you could even get a word out. Not a smart choice. Number 32, Carolyn. Secrets run deep in this family. For instance, Carolyn doesn't even know her husband is working for Mr. Key, moving contraband all over Stardew Valley. It would be easier if she did know, and she'd finally have a good excuse to leave him. Number 31, Leo. Leo is a child who is basically raised by birds. Maybe he gets tipsy off of fermented berry juice occasionally, but that's about it. He doesn't have anything for you. Number 30, Maru. Maru has a steady job at the clinic. She is an outgoing and intelligent young woman with a hobby she's passionate about and parents who support her. She's one of those weirdos who isn't seeking artificial fulfillment through chemical means. You'll have to look elsewhere. Number 29, George. First of all, George is just really mean, and that's not a vibe I'm trying to connect with. Also, since he keeps posting quests for random items to relieve his various aches and pains, I doubt Harvey has been giving him the good stuff at the clinic. The strongest thing in George's medicine cabinet is Tylenol. Number 28. Gus. Gus prides himself on running a clean bar, despite the fact that Sebastian is literally dealing in the pool room. If you're after alcohol, then yeah, obviously Gus is the guy to see. If you ask for anything else, you get kicked out. Number 27. Gil. Gil claims that he has never had any use for drugs. I don't think he's lying, per se, but every now and then he'll mention that Coca-Cola used to be way better back in the day. Number 26. Evelyn. Evelyn is an old hippie from way back, but she doesn't want anyone to know that. She literally wouldn't be able to take George's shit every day if she weren't high, but she will not admit it, even when you point out that she always takes her own cookie from a separate container than the one she keeps everyone else's in. Number 25. Sam. Sam was straight edge until the day he turned 21. He drinks now, but hasn't experimented any further. Honestly, he still feels a bit guilty about the drinking. Number 24. Clint. Clint tried weed once and it gave him a panic attack. Ever since, he is stuck strictly to alcohol. He won't judge you, but he won't have anything for you either. Number 23. Grandpa. So, most people wouldn't ask their dead grandfather for drugs. I get it. But this is the guy who wrote you that heartfelt letter about escaping the rush of the modern world and returning to a simpler life. There's a good chance he's disappointed in you for not starting a hemp crop. Unfortunately, he's a ghost, so it's unclear if he could deliver, even if you asked. Number 22. Wizard. You would think that a wizard could hook you up with some truly cosmic shit, but you should avoid this option if at all possible. All he has is that weird hallucinogenic tea that he brews in his giant cauldron, and it mostly just makes you shit your brains out. Number 21. Willy. Don't bug Willy. He just wants to fish and hang out with Clint at the bar. It's not like he'd actually have any drugs on him anyway. 20. Lewis. Lewis will happily reminisce about toking up with the grandpa back when they were young, but says the modern stuff is just too strong for him. He's not going to cause you any trouble, but the stories he tells you will take up your whole evening. You're going to bed sober tonight. Number 19. Sandy. Sandy will not sell you anything illegal. She will, however, look suggestively in the direction of Mr. Key's casino and say something like, "I have no idea where you'd find anything like that." Number 18. Haley. Haley isn't the kind of person who has drugs, she just shows up to places where there are drugs. And even if you do tag along, you'll basically have to babysit her. She goes absolutely wild and will demand to drive home, despite the fact that she doesn't have a car. You will need to be sober to prevent her from trying to steal one. Number 17. Alex. There's a decent enough chance that Alex could hook you up, or at least direct you to someone who could. The thing I'm worried about is that he's a promising young athlete. What if I accidentally introduce him to drugs and he spirals out of control? I don't want to be a footnote on a 30 for 30 about how Alex could have been a star had he not died tragically young. Number 16. Gunther. Gunther may not seem the type to imbibe, but he personally tests the pharmacological attributes of every mineral you donate. That's not a very smart thing to do, and it's never actually gotten him high, but at least he won't be judgy when you ask if he's got any molly. Number 15. Shane. If you're really desperate and are on good terms with Shane, then yeah, he can help you out. You absolutely will not have a good time doing it, because he's not really the kind of guy who will just give. He will share, but you'll have to spend a few hours with this miserable son of a bitch, watching him slowly destroy himself and wondering if one day you may share the same fate. Number 14. Professor Snail. The guy got himself trapped in a cave full of mushrooms. Gee, I wonder how he became disoriented. Number 13. Kent. Kent may have come home safe from the war, but it is still metaphorically waging inside him. The only thing that quells the turmoil within is a nice indica strain, and Kent rarely goes more than an hour or two without packing a bowl. He'll happily smoke you up, but there's like a 1 in 5 chance you're going to hear some really fucked up shit about how many people he's killed. Number 12. Linus. Okay, Linus doesn't have anything for you. He had a really bad reaction to some anti-anxiety medication a few years ago. Like, scary bad. Ever since, he has sworn off any mind-altering substances, with the exception of a beer every now and then. I just put him this high on the list because you should really make time to visit Linus. He doesn't have anyone. Number 11. Jody. Jody actually grows her own weed, but follows the state guidelines of personal use very strictly. That's still plenty to share, but she doesn't want her kids to find out she's growing, so you'll have to be subtle. Also, when Kent is home, he ends up smoking most of it anyway. Number 10. Harvey. We all know that Harvey is crooked. If you want something, he'll write you a prescription. Oh sure, farmers need 80 milligrams of Adderall a day, you know, to keep track of all those vegetables. The only reason he's not higher on this list is because he's definitely worsened the valley's opiate problem by overprescribing them, and I don't feel great about that. Number 9. Krobus. You can get some otherworldly shit from Krobus, and I mean that in a literal sense. He can hook you up with stuff that will let you commune with Yoba. He's all too eager to let you have it too. This guy's just desperate to be on your good side. Number 8. Emily. Emily is high for every shift she works at the saloon. She also does shrooms sometimes when she's making clothes because she says it helps her experience the textures of the fabric better. She would definitely be down to trip with you. Number 7. Leah. Leah's cool, no surprises there. She is pretty much always stoned while she does her art, and her mushroom hunts in the woods aren't just for culinary purposes. She's definitely on the chill side, so if you're looking for something that will get your heart rate up, she's not your girl. Number 6. Abigail. This one is pretty obvious. Her parents are worried about her alternative lifestyle. She's into the occult. She spends a weird amount of time looking for frogs in the rain. Abigail can hook you up with stuff you've never even heard of. Just be prepared for a profoundly weird hangover. Number 5. Sebastian. Sebastian self-medicates a lot. Nothing has actually made him feel better, but he keeps trying nonetheless. He recently started dealing on the side in a misguided attempt to rebel against his parents. He'll smoke you up, but you'll have to sit and listen to him babble about philosophical nonsense and whine about his stepdad. Number 4. Elliot. An aspiring novelist who lives in a beach cabin and spends a good amount of time at the bar? Yeah, this guy's got coke. Just be ready for him to hold you captive for the next 3 hours while he excitedly explains his next big idea, which will, totally be bigger than A Song of Ice and Fire. Number 3. Mr. Key. Mr. Key is a solid option as long as you keep the interaction short. His operation is big enough that you know what you're getting is safe, but he will try to rope you into dealing for him. He'll make it sound easy, but trust me, you need to make up some excuse for why you can't do it. You do not want to get in the red with Mr. Key. Number 2. Birdie. Birdie lives alone in a hut on an island. She teaches you how to make literal fairy dust. Yeah, I think Birdie's pretty chill with it. And finally, number 1. Pierre. You think Pierre is making a living off of running a general store in a town with a couple dozen people? Get real. The guy is moving literal tons of product. Sure, he doesn't usually sell it retail, but he'll have no choice but to sell to you if you reveal that you're wise to his secret operation. His wife and daughter don't even know. And they can never know.